Hello viewers, welcome to my Doctor Who themed YouTube channel, Who Ventures. And this is my review of Doctor Who Series 10, Episode 10, The Eaters of Light, which was brilliant! I loved it! So this, you might expect sort of screechy loud noises during this review because I might get excited. So be warned if you've got headphones on and you expect me to be talking quiet, because I might not be. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. So this episode is written by Rona Munro, and it's her first time back since she wrote for the classic series, and she wrote the last one in the classic series before it had the break, and she wrote Survival. So she's back for this episode, and it's amazing. I loved it. It was more like Russell T Davies kind of Who, and it was more fairy tale, and it reminded me of the TV show Raven with the guy in his outfit in the forest. I just loved it. So we start, the opening title bit was quite shorter than usual, but we start and there's a crow, and it's in Scotland at the Devil's Cairn, and this crow is saying, and there's a crow, and it says, "Dog, ah!" And then there's two kids, and I thought those kids, they were acting very good acting, especially the girl. They were really acting really good, and she wants to look at these stones, and we see that the stones have got carvings in, including a TARDIS, and she can hear this music in the ground, so she wants to go and listen to it, but the boy's scared and he thinks the ghosts will come and get you, but she really wants to listen to the music in the ground. And then we scan past the rocks, and there's all different carvings on the rocks, and one of them is the TARDIS. So then we have the credits, the titles. And then the TARDIS, I found it really difficult to keep up with my notes because there was so much stuff I wanted to write down. The TARDIS arrives in Aberdeen in Scotland in the 2nd century, and Bill and the Doctor are arguing about who knows more about the 9th Legion, which is a legion of Roman soldiers that in real life went mysteriously missing, and nobody's found what happened to them. So this is a Doctor Who sort of solving of the mystery. So Bill and the Doctor arguing about who knows the most about the 9th Legion and the Romans, and Nardole comes out and he's dressing down because he's settled down in bed to watch some DVDs and stuff, or whatever TARDIS does to stream movies and stuff. I really wanted to see Nardole's bedroom, because Nardole's got a bedroom in the TARDIS, and we haven't seen it, and it would be awesome to see it. And then the Doctor starts talking about how you lived in Roman Britain once. I'm not sure, I don't think I saw, is that in Survival? I haven't seen that bit, so any episodes about him living in Roman Britain, so haven't seen those, so I'm not sure which Doctor he's on about. And apparently he was a 2nd class Vestal Virgin. I don't quite know what that means either. And then Nardole was like, 2nd class? I didn't really know what Nardole meant either, because he's saying, Doctor, 2nd class, so I don't really get that bit. But and then we see from a monster's viewpoint that is a monster looking at Bill. And then we see a picked person, and she's honouring the dead by putting beads into a fire. And then this picked person sees Bill, and she runs after her screaming. And then Bill falls down a hole, and she falls down a hole into a cave of some young Roman soldiers, and they're all young men. And then the crow is Nardole and the Doctor walk past the crow, and the crow says, "Doctor!" And Nardole said, the Doctor, the crow's talking to you, Doctor." And the Doctor says, "Well, yeah, of course it is. All crows talk." And Nardole says, present Nardole, and then they talk about how crows at this time they don't talk, and the doctor says, oh, that's because they're all in a huff. And then the doctors talk about Iron Age churches, and Nardole's talk about women with rats, and there's so much stuff that is definitely worth lots of rewatches because there's so much stuff. And then Bill's with the Romans, and through talking to the Roman soldier that she's turned sort of fell on top of, she figures out that the TARDIS translates everything into her language, and then she sees the Roman soldier, and he's doing speaking English, and he's making the words of the English with his mouth, and she says, oh, it even does lip sync. So I thought that was quite clever. And then Bill asked the Roman soldier, are you from the 9th Legion? And then we go back to the Doctor and Nardole, and they find a shriveled up body of a boneless Roman, and it's like all his bones have come out of his body, and it says something, and the Doctor said something about light, and then Nardole says, oh, Death by Scotland, that was fun. And then Nardi's complaining and he wants to go back to bed. So they found all these shriveled up Roman soldiers. They all dead. And so anyway, so Bill and the Roman boy, they get out of a hole, and then the monster starts chasing him. And I thought the monster looked really cool, actually. I think we should have a big action figure, a big oversized action figure of it. That would be cool. And then there's a and Bill and this Roman lad, they get to these other Roman soldier boys, and they deserted and ran away, and they think they're cowards and useless, but they're not. And then there's a fish, we see a carving of a fish, and then the monster eats this Roman guy, and he tells her, if you go past the rock with a fish carving, you can find the hideout. So Bill's running from the monster, and she gets to the cave, and then the monster attacks her from behind and leaves black slime on her. But the young men, they managed to wall up the cave, so they're all hiding in this cave away from the monster. And the Roman that got attacked by the monster is called Simon. He got eaten by the monster and covered in black slime, and that's how he got destroyed. And then Bill finds she's covered in slime, and she got slime on her neck, and she faints. And then we go back to the Doctor and Nardole, and they're surrounded by Picts, and they've got all their swords surrounding the Doctor and Nardole, and Doctor's asking for the Wi-Fi code, and Nardole's got offering popcorn and says, I'm being charming, and the Doctor says, no you're not. And then the Picts say, stand still, and Nardole says, I'm rooted. I love that bit. And then the Doctor was like Malcolm Tucker, and it was awesome, and it reminded me of the bit in the thick of it when he's talking to Chris Addison's character about Star Wars. Says, like, all them plastic men you've got. That really reminded me of that. Because Car the Pict, she is the gatekeeper, but and she thinks, and basically the Doctor is angry that the Picts fought the Romans and the Romans fought the Picts, and the Doctor found lots of eaten boneless Romans, and then to escape from the Pict hideout, the Doctor chucks Nardole's popcorn on the fire, and they all jump and are scared, so Nardole and the Doctor run away, and then they go looking for the gateway amongst these carved stones. Then they find it, and the gate's opening, and the stone wall opens, and it's rather like classic Who, looks really cool. And the Doctor goes through the gates a bit, and he sees these fishy, mermaidy monster creatures. And then it steps away from the gate. And meanwhile, there's been a time difference, a temporal rift. So what has been seconds for the Doctor was 2 days for Nardole, and Nardole's been totally ingratiated with the Picts, and he's telling them a story about Ensomden, about aliens and stuff. And he's telling them a story, and he's got all the Pict makeup and the overalls on and everything. And then we cut back to Bill, and she wakes up with the Romans. And one of the Romans being nice to Bill, but some of the Romans, they kind of look a bit, I'd hit there. They look a bit leery, but it turns out they're not that bad. But the Roman is nice to Bill, and then we cut back to the Doctor, and he's talking at Carr, who is trying to guard the gate, and then he's like being quite mean to her and being Dr. Tucker. And then there's leery Roman soldiers, and then Bill has to tell Lucius that she fancies women, not men, and Lucius is like, fair enough. That Vitus, he likes blokes, and Lucius is bi. And then he tells Bill, shame you limit yourself. So I don't know how that lie would have gone down with everybody. But he said that she limits herself because she doesn't like men, and Lucius is bi and wants to go up Bill. But then there's the Doctor and Nardole, they find a Pict who's melted as well. And they figure out the beast, it feeds on sunlight. So, and Carr's idea to deal with the monster was to get the monster and get the Roman army and put them together so the Roman army would fight the monster and both would be vanquished. But it didn't work because the monster's still coming. And then Bill sort of speaks to the Romans a bit the same how doctors speak to the Picts, about how they're not cowards, they're scared and it's okay to be scared. And then they command the leader of the Romans, they call him Grandad, and that's because he's the oldest one left, and he's only 18, and that's why they call him Grandad, because he's the oldest one there. And then the Doctor is with the Picts and he's making a plan, and he asks Carr if she's sulking, and then he says, it's okay you're scared, but you've got to face the beast anyway. And he says, time to grow up, and he says it really gently and sweet. And then she has this sort of weapon, and he said it looks like a lollipop, so he says, we need more of these, because he's got a plan. And then the Romans and Bill are in the caves, and he says, forward, Centurion. I thought I liked that bit, it reminded me of Rory. And then they can hear the barbarians above them. And then there's a monster, and a Roman got eaten. And they find the Doctor, and Bill's found the Ninth Legion, and Nardole's learnt a bit of Scottish. I thought it was fun. And then Bill says there's no time for fighting, and then they all realise that they're all being translated into one language, so they can all understand each other. And the Doctor says, Bill says, we must all sound like children. And the Doctor's saying, well, there are exceptions. And Nardole says, oh, thank you very much. And then he says, not you, Nardole. And then tells the Romans and the Picts to grow the hell up, stop fighting and look. And the message is for all the people in the world who are fighting to grow up and look after the planet together, because the monsters, these are light-eating locusts apparently through the gate, and if they get through, they'll eat all the stars and the sun and eat all the light and destroy everything. So the Romans and the Picts have got to work together, and these monsters, they home in on sound, so the Doctor gets them all making some music, and then Bill says, well, why don't you ever tell me your plan, Doctor? And the Doctor says, well, I'll probably get interrupted, so far it's good. And then Nardo says about the music, oh, it's some jazz. And then Nardo's talking to the crow. And then the monster's coming up behind, so they get these lollipop mirrory things, and they put the light on the monster until sunrise. Then they push this monster back through the void. And then the gate has to be guarded so the monster and the locusts can't get through. So the Doctor's all doing his volunteering to guard the gate. It's my job, I live for thousands of years, I could do it. And then he's volunteering and saying, go home, Bill, take the TARDIS with you, I can't do this. And Bill doesn't want him to, and then Carr volunteers to guard the gate, and along with the Roman Ninth Legion want to work with the Picts to work together. And Bill has to persuade the Doctor, this isn't your destiny, Doctor, this is their destiny, let them guard the gate. And then one of the other Romans is saying, he'll carve pictures and rocks and make sure Carr's story is always remembered. And the way he does that, he tells one of the crows to always say the word Carr. So the crows that are present in 2017 are saying caw, 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 caw. So they're saying her name, remembering her for all time. And then so they leave, and then Nardo and the Doctor and Bill are going back to the TARDIS, and Nardo's saying, I know all your secrets, Doctor, and I know where the tea cakes are in the TARDIS. And this time said the Doctor that the Doctor's got to accept that he's wrong and he can't take on every fight. And he said, can you hear the music? And then he's saying, music's funny like that, and that reminds me of Clara's theme. And then they find out that Missy's in the TARDIS, and the Doctor has given Missy some maintenance jobs to do in the TARDIS, which he's been doing, and the Doctor hasn't been looking after the TARDIS properly, so Missy's been fixing stuff. And he's got this guard around the TARDIS that prevents Missy from leaving the TARDIS, so it's same like she says, oh, it's the same way I'm in the vault, and Nardole says, no it isn't. And then Missy can see what the Doctor and Bill and Nardole have been up to. And well, the Doctor let Missy stay in the TARDIS because she got them home from Mars. And then the Doctor's saying Missy's been able to see what the Doctor, Bill and Nardo have been up to, and she's like been watching the episode like us. And then Nardo said, and then the Doctor said, well, what did you think of it? And Missy starts saying what she thought, and Nardo says, oh, is she reviewing us now? And it's like a smiley face with the eyes to the side. I love that, and yes, I'm reviewing it. I love that line. It's awesome. And then the Doctor's teaching Missy to listen to the music because it makes you feel. And then we cut to the young girl listening to the music, and then cut back to Missy listening to the music, and she's crying. And then it's the Doctor and Missy, and it's really romantic. And then the Doctor said, if there's the Doctor's wondering if Missy's crying is real, and then Missy's like insulted, saying no, it's all part of a devious plan. and then the Missy's saying, why, what's your problem, doctor? And the doctor's saying, because if it's real, it might be time for them to become friends again. And then they hold hands, and they hold hands. He says, and he hopes that she is good again. And he says, hope is hard to resist. And if she was good, they'd be all having a wedding and getting married and kissing lots. Because they would be in love. I love that. If Missy proves herself and proves that she can be good on the side of good, then the doctor will miss you will get it on. I love that. And then we got the Next Time trailer, which is amazing. And the Next Time trailer we see the doctor letting Missy have a go at being the doctor with the companions, and that loads of reasons. She's dabbing and she's got a Mary Poppins outfit on again, and it's so amazing. And then we see a bit about the Cybermen, and there's some blue men again, and then we see Sim, and he's like, give us a kiss. Well, we don't know who he's saying it to, so I hope he's saying it to the doctor. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Oh, it's sad. I don't want this era to finish. I don't want Peter to leave, or Michelle to leave, or Noddle. I don't want anyone to leave. I wish we could have another series of the Dr. Bill, Noddle, Missy and Sim Master, and have every episode written by Rona. That would be amazing. I wish we could have another series. But that's a tricky part being a Who fan. You get really sad when a doctor leaves or an era is over, but there's the excitement of the brand new era and all the activities and artwork and stuff that you're going to do for the new era. Well, it gets me emotional because I get so emotional about stories. If you've seen my empathy video on my Curiosity Rocks channel, on my autism education playlist, I go into how my strongest empathy level in my head is for fictional characters and stories, and that's how fictional characters and worrying about what's going to happen in the story can change my mood for weeks. So I'm nervous. Oh my gosh, I love this episode. I love everybody. I love all the cast and crew. Thank you, Peter, for being amazing. And don't forget, you'll always be the Doctor. Once you're the Doctor, you're always the Doctor. So, and thank you for everybody, and I really hope there's going to be more stories about Noddle, extra fan fiction, extra Big Finish and extra comics all about Noddle, because I love him, and loads more comics and extra fiction and art about Missy. I love a Missy spin-off, please, and a Noddle and Friends spin-off, please, and I love it. I'm so happy. I love it all. I love it. I love it. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I love it. And thank you for watching. Yay.